Welcome to another edition of the DawgHouse. I am your host, the Sav Dog himself. Happy Canada Day, everyone. Well, anybody that is not an American. Yes, there are holidays outside of America. Anyways, happy Canada Day to you. And ironically, my opponent this week is in Canada. And a little traitor. Anyways, but we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about last week. Of course, the division was on the line with me against Jaycock. The year of the Sav versus the year of the Stash. And it ended up in a tie. So, because I like to think a tie goes to the one ahead in the standings, the year of the Sav still continues, whereas the year of Stash will have to find another way to usurp me from the top of the standings. Right now, he hasn't. He has yet to beat me this year, which is great. My pitching is rocking it right now. Scherzer, DeGrom, Verlander, and never thought I'd dream of saying this, but Mike Fiers and Anthony DeScalfini gave me some big quality innings this week and quality starts. So things are going good. Undefeated in the last 4 weeks, although 2 of them were ties. Actually, yeah. Anyway, point is, I'm rolling again. So people want to say it's the year of the Stash. Well, not going to happen. It's the year of the Sav Dog. Deal with it, buddy, because it ain't going to happen to anyone else but me. And speaking of public service announcements, if you're going to offer me a trade, I already told you what I need. So if you're offering me an outfielder, first base, third base, I ain't interested in talking to you. So better come back with a better trade offer, some of you. Anyways, so this week, ironically, it is Canada Day, and I'm facing the Canadian team in our league. The one and the only Sneed, a.k.a. the Canadian Dingle. So in honor, I'm not going to go like I did the first time around. That was classic. So we're going to go ahead and get to it a little bit with our top 5. The list of Sav Dog. This week, top 5 things that make Canada great and that have given America some fun things to have. Number 5. This is a tie. Rush, the rock band, and of course Bachman Turner Overdrive. 2 classic rock bands. I know BTO is probably before some of your times, but they have some classic music. And of course Rush as well. Rush. They just rock. So that's number 5. Probably should be higher, but remember it's the list of the Sav Dog. I don't do it anyway, but my own way. Number 4. Poutine. Love me some poutine. Fries with gravy and cheese on it. Cheese curds on it. Yummy. Classic stuff. May not look pretty, but tastes pretty darn good. Love it. Number 3. And this is go for all you youngsters here. You can't do that on television. No, it's not. It's not any kind of FCC thing. It's the old Nickelodeon TV show, a little before probably all of your times. But it also was the reason why Nickelodeon brought in green slime, because you can't do that on television. It's kind of like a kids' variety show just filled with comics and bad humor for kids. I loved it. Loved everything about it. Also brought us Alanis Morissette, as she got her big start off that show. But no, she's not on here. I just don't like her music. But, teach their own. Number 2, my personal favorite, Steve Yzerman. The captain of Hockey Town. 3 Stanley Cups. Best captain around, most humble guy in the world. Could do anything, was one of the best all-around players in a time when you have Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, Roenick, Bork, Sakic. He did it all. Great team leader, joke maker, humble man, and he's back with the Wings. Thank God, as a GM. Maybe he can bring some Tampa Bay Lightning guys over Braden Point. like that's going to happen. But to each his own. Hopefully he turns the Hockey Town ship around and the Red Wings can get back to where they belong, which is near atop the NHL and not right at the very bottom of the NHL. It's not right to be the Dead Wings again. It's not cool, especially in Detroit where we have Tigers, Red Wings, Lions, Pistons. Well, at least Pistons made the playoffs, 4-out. But Eisenman, please get somebody good this year, this offseason. I'm begging you. Detroit Pistons, we already know they're going after injured players like Derrick Rose. But hopefully you can turn it around, Stevie. And the last one. Greatest thing that Canada really brought over to the States? Me. Technically, I should explain myself. My grandmother's side of the family and my grandmother were from Canada. My grandma was born in Canada, moved across the Detroit River, and lived in the States. Actually, according to my grandmother, she lived right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Nice to have, but of course, history happened in Detroit as well. Detroit. So you know. She moved out, lived out in the suburbs, and history happens, and voila. So I'm kind of a Canadian import myself. And thought making fun of Canada was from some nonsensical American. Well, I like to think of myself as a nonsensical North American. Canada, United States, I don't have any ties to Mexico, even though I did see it a couple weeks ago across from my hotel room. But, you know, Canada, great place, actually. I actually do like Canada. That's a shoot part. Anyways, so that is my top 5 this week. So we're going to talk about my opponent, the Canadian Dingle himself. And surprise, surprise, he's got 2 wins under his belt the last 2 weeks, including beating the guy I tied this past 2 weeks ago and then beating Chicago last week. 1 week, and this week, and that's all I'm taking as 1 week. Canadian Dingle's got some guys on offense, notably Austin Riley, which he keeps throwing in our face time after time on Slack. Okay, one guy. Okay, Austin Riley, whoop-de-doo. Anyway, Canadian Dingle, the last time I beat you barely by the skin of my teeth. I still beat you. Now, the biggest reason why was your pitching actually outdueled mine. But right now, and even Thrills made a comment last week and it carried over this week, my pitching is paying off now. All that investment of Price, Verlander, oh, I didn't pay much for Price. Verlander, Scherzer, DeGrom, Vasquez, and then my pickups of Stroman, Miley, not Cyrus, and then Anthony DeSclafani, however you spell his name. The Texas pitcher that shut out Detroit, that pretty much shut out Detroit. Well, anybody shuts out Detroit at this point. They are just killing it right now. Ian Kennedy's been a nice little pickup for me. Got becoming a closer out in Kansas City, albeit the small times he can close. Killing it. You ain't going to take my pitching down, that's for sure. And this week, my hitting, lying in the weeds. I'll give people credit where it's due. It's solid. Got to get a little more power from my guys. But Soto, Brian Reynolds have been killing it. Trey Mancini. I'll be okay. And I'll take some of those offensive stats. You may take me down for a lot of the offensive categories, but I'll steal a few, and you won't be touching me on my pitching. That's for sure. And then little comment, you can take a knee when they play the American National Anthem in Canada, but I'm going to make sure I stand on top of you this week as the week continues, and you will have nothing you can do about it. There will be nothing you can do about it, Austin Snead. You will go down. You will go down hard. I'll be taking care of business, and I'm going to be letting it ride. All right? I will take you out. So, before I forget on this happy note, last week, once again, none of you Igmos got the question. And actually, Canadian Dingle, I'm kind of surprised at you because I thought you'd get it because the trivia question was, who is the oldest minor league baseball team? Sneed. It's by you. Buffalo Bisons. That, my friend, you failed. All right, so this week's question. As you can see, I'm going Daytona today. Well, I'm not going to Daytona, but heading south to Florida in the next couple weeks to see Charlotte, which is Stone Crabs. Wander Franco, can't wait. Hopefully he stays there. And ironically, that's who I saw when I was in Daytona to play when the Tortugas played them. Quality ballpark, old ballpark, actually the oldest in baseball. Minor league ball, I should say. So my question isn't who's the second oldest one. That's Centennial Field in Vermont, home of the Lake Monsters. But the question is, the park in Daytona is called Jackie Robinson Park. Speaking of Jackie Robinson, who was the minor league team after he signed with the Dodgers did Jackie Robinson play for? And if you've been paying attention through this whole video, you probably should know the answer. And if you don't, you all are a bunch of Igmos. None of you took me up on the offer I made last week about if you win, I would buy you a 6-pack of something. But too bad, so sad. Nobody wins. Anyway, so that's your question. What minor league team did Jackie Robinson play for after he signed with the Dodgers? Anyway, best of luck to all of you, except for you, Canadian Dingle, and I will see you next week. Sav Dog out.